Welcome to Purpose 360. I'm Carol Cohn.
And I'm Chris Noble.
And we're on a journey to explore the brightest and most innovative minds and initiatives in social purpose.
Today, companies and brands must stand for something meaningful. They have to have a social purpose and bring that purpose forward to their employees, their customers, and their community.
Each episode, we're talking to leaders at Fortune 100 companies, global brands, social enterprise startups, NGOs, and everything in between.
We'll be taking a deep dive to learn how they are integrating purpose into their organizations
to benefit both business and society for enduring impact. Join us. Welcome to Purpose 360. I'm Carol Cohn.
And I'm Chris Noble.
And we have a wonderful, wonderful episode for you today. With us is Pablo Jimenez, and he is the Global Vice President of Reputation and Communications for AB InBev. Or for those of you who know the AB part coming from the U.S., Anheuser-Busch. And so, Pablo, it's just, welcome to our show. We are thrilled to have you today.
Hi, Carol. Hi, Chris. I'm really thrilled to be here with your audience.
I always like to start with the numbers. And AB InBev is a company of amazing size and tremendous consolidation. It came to being in 2008. Its revenues are in excess of $54 million, with over 175,000 employees around the globe, representing over 500 brands in 100 countries. And so how this company has come together, and it has a very, very powerful purpose, is what we're going to get into today. Because not only coming together, but then how you continue to grow and have a unified culture and vision, but also the individual nature of the brands with their wonderful personalities. That's a really delicate balance. And so, Pablo, let's just start with a little bit about AB InBev's purpose. And then I'd like to read your manifesto.
Absolutely, Carol. Our purpose, what we call our dream, is to bring people together for a better world. This is part of what we call Dream People Culture. That is a set of 10 principles. And we are convinced that a culture is what really defines our company. It really defines not only who we are, but also how we act. It really unifies and drives all of our people. It's been a non-negotiable element in all of our combination. It's a critical component for us, and we believe it's maybe the recipe of our success.
I think it truly is the recipe of your success. So let's just step back for a moment. And both Chris and I would love to know a little bit about your background and the focus of your current role.
Very happy to share that with you. I joined AB InBev approximately 6 years ago. I joined what we call our Middle Americas zone as responsible for legal and corporate affairs. And I recently moved just over a year ago to a global role. I'm now fortunate enough to be in charge of what we call our reputation and communications team. I see my role and the role of our team as connectors. We are responsible for bringing the outside-in perspective for the company, and also making sure that we connect our company to our main audiences through sharing our stories. To a certain extent, we see ourselves, Carol and Chris, as gatekeepers of the principle. We're doing what we say, and we are saying what we do.
And I'm going to get right into the manifesto because I just read this and I found it so profound. We are a company of owners. We believe that you get out what you put in. We strive to be the best, pursuing our dream, committed to improving lives for more people in more communities. For centuries, we've been bringing people together through sports, through music, and through culture, creating moments both everyday and extraordinary moments, seizing every occasion to serve up more of what people thirst for. For this reason, we pour ourselves into our work, from farm to brewery to market, taking pride and ownership in every step, crafting great beer from the best natural ingredients, paving the road for a better tomorrow that we're proud to be part of, and celebrating the great times that bring us together. We are AB InBev, bringing people together for a better world. That is such a fabulous manifesto. And it's right up front on your website. And I love the fact that you talk about pursuing our dream, committed to improving lives for people in more communities. And then you talk about how you do it. So now that we're going to dive into our questions, we're going to put you on the spot, Pablo. And we want to know, what's your favorite beer?
Oh, that's a tough question, Carol. and
We knew that.
and I would say that it really depends on the occasion. For example, if I'm thinking about the reward for a day of physical activity, I am totally partial for Michelob Ultra. This is a beautiful beer, low in calories, low in carbs, full flavor, great beer. If I'm enjoying a burger, I'm a totally fan and a sucker for burgers. I love having a nice cold Budweiser. At the same time, if I'm talking about savoring and pairing, I would say that Leffe Blonde and Stella Artois are one of my key beers and my favorites. So it's really about the occasion. And the great thing is that since we have over 500 beers in our portfolio, you can really have the opportunity to choose from many great beers.
And then that was a great answer because, if you always ask, which of your children do you love the most? You always say all. So thank you. That was a great, very appropriately political and very real answer. So thank you.
And
so
totally
let's get
totally
into your
authentic.
purpose.
See, it's October, and now that the months are starting to end in R, I enjoy both the Blue Point beer and the Blue Point oysters. So I think those pair really well together. Right? But you're right. It has to fit the occasion.
That's a great pairing. Absolutely, Chris. It's about the occasion. Going to authenticity, we know that beer has been bringing people together for hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands. We've seen countless new friendships, connections, and great experiences built over the shared love of beer. And we do think that beer is part of the life's greatest moments. And we want that continue to be the case. And since we're building a company to last for our employees, for our consumers, and we want our company and our great beers to be there for the next 100 and plus years, we have to stay true to our culture and stay true to our dream. And of course, we can talk a little bit more about how is that we actually bring this dream into life.
That would be great because how did the purpose come to be? What was the process that you went through? Identifying it is really hard. It has to be real. But then how do you embed it is even harder.
So let me share with you a beautiful story that our CEO, Carlos Brito, likes to share with folks. It was approximately 10 years ago when during a Q&A while visiting a university for identifying candidates for what we called our global MBA program, a person raised her hand and asked a question. Her name was Ludmila from Ukraine. And she asked a question that, as Brito can tell you, he has been trying to respond and bring to life ever since. Not only himself, but also with senior management of the company and with several of our colleagues in a very wide exercise. And the question was, what would the world miss if your company did not exist? That's a super thoughtful question. And from the story from Brito, he was paralyzed for a few seconds, and he started thinking about so many ways to respond to that question. In the end, his response was, "That's a great question. Let us think a little bit about it." And I offer to come back to you and tell you a little bit more of what is that the world would miss if our company did not exist. And as you can only imagine, this resulted in really thoughtful discussions and soul searching in several ways and forms. And we came to the conclusion that what is really authentic to beer is to bring people together. So we bring people together, as you read in the manifesto, in so many ways and forms, from the simplest moments of sharing a beer with family and friends, to the big stage events, to the greatest sports events, to the biggest cultural moments. But we, of course, want to make every experience with beer to be a positive one. And the other point of bringing it to life is that we recognize that despite the fact that we're a global company, a company with a global reach, we are very local in nature. Our business is very local. because we source most of our materials locally. We employ local colleagues. We brew most of our beers locally, and we sell our beers into the communities, and our consumers are part of those communities as our employees are. So we want to be part of those communities, and when you're part of the community, you're expected to be part of the solution.
Did you have a task force? Did you query your employees from different countries? What was how did you operationalize discovering the purpose?
Absolutely. So it was a wide, very thoughtful exercise that included, I would say, all of the zones where we operate and colleagues from different levels in different exercises, from focus groups to surveys, and also a very thoughtful reflection on the conclusions by our senior management. And so it was a very, I would say, a very inclusive process. And it came up to reflect really and truly who we are and what we identify as our dream. Again, bringing people together.
How long did it take to do that?
A few months, the full exercise. But I would say that bringing our dream to life is a never ending process because we do that day after day and function after function. This is a joint effort and it's a cross functional dream, as every dream needs to be, and as the purpose needs to be. And the way we bring it to life in the different functions through the different brands, of course, is unique. And then it's a never-ending process.
That's great. And you also have on your purpose, you've added for the next 100+ years. And so why did you add that kind of long horizon to it?
Because we're here for the long run. Again, as beer has been a witness of centuries of friendships and connections. And we think that life is better with beer. That's why we're in this business. We want to continue brewing the best beers and bringing people together for the next 100 years. So that's for our consumers and that's also for our employees because we want to build something that is bigger than ourselves.
So for those listeners, I'd love to just get your point of view. Is it important in a purpose to add some time-bound nature to it?
I think that the purpose has to be long-standing. Of course, you have to figure also how is that you're going to get there and how is that you're going to evaluate progress. So you have to have certain ways to measure how is that you're doing towards achieving your purpose. The purpose and the dream have to be really long-standing and something that is so big that you almost never fully achieve it. It has to continue propelling you and inspiring you. As Brito, our CEO, likes to say, it takes the same amount of effort to dream small or to dream big. So we want to dream big.
And actually that really ties into, the larger vision ties into then how you operationalize that and roll it out. And I know that we're going to talk about some of the consumer facing programs, but I want to start kind of working inside out. One of the things that both your CEO and I think the company espouses is this ownership culture that encourages people to take ownership, but also then to dream bigger and achieve more. How does your purpose kind of spill out through your culture to your employees? And what does it mean to work for AB InBev?
That's a great question. And everything starts from culture, as you mentioned, what we called Green People Culture or 10 principles that propels us and that inspire us. Those are basically founded on concept of ownership, informality, meritocracy, and simplicity. And this is the way we approach our day-to-day life in the company, but also our goals. Green People Culture needs to be a living element that you refer to day in and day out when you're making business decisions. And talking about ownership and simplicity, when we decided that we want to bring our purpose into life, is that we identify that we have to be true to ourselves, that we have to identify what is the intersection that would allow us to have not only lasting impact in the communities, but also lasting impact on our business. Because the only way for you to adopt a purpose that stands and that sticks over the years is to do something that really, number one, authentic to your brand and to your company. Number two, that matters to your consumers and also inspires your employees. And of course, that it's aligned to your business.
And I'm curious, the 10 principles, which are very well stated, how do they translate across the different cultures? When you acquire a new set of companies, Obviously, they're very, very different. And is there a process by which they become dreamers? They learn of the principles? Is it part of their KPIs?
So talking about ownership, this is a great opportunity because this is one of the key principles of our culture. We are a company of owners, and owners take results personally. This means that our colleagues care and act because this is their company. This is our company. We like to think that owners identify gaps, the way we call to areas that need improvement, and then develop plans to close them. And as we are never completely satisfied with our results, this is a never-ending process of continuous improvement. Owners take the initiative and don't wait to receive instructions or directions from others. And here I would like to use an example that our CEO uses to illustrate this principle, and it's the example of a rental car. As Brito says, when driving a rental car, some folks may not take the exact amount of care with a car as if it was their own car. They're not necessarily paying attention to every detail and to every noise in the car because it's a rental. On the other hand, these same folks, when driving their own car, they are extremely careful and they want to make sure that everything is working exactly right in the car. And these are the owners.
The consistency and the simplicity of it is just really important for our listeners to learn.
I think that you touch upon a very critical point, Carol, because culture can and certainly has different elements from one country to the other, from one geography to the other. But when you talk about corporate culture, you have to make sure that, in our opinion, of course, different companies have different approaches. That in our opinion, culture has to be a unifying element. And for you to be successful in that effort, you have to, number one, communicate it very clearly. Number one, to show through behavior what you really mean by your culture. But the third element that you mentioned, it has to be based on simplicity and common sense, because that's the only way that you can actually make this culture stick, irrespective of the geography and the moment in time. It has to be based on simplicity and common sense.
That's actually tied back to ownership, right? Because, in fact, it ties all the way back to the right beer for the right situation, right? If you look across, the consistent theme is to use these principles as a framework, but then to project them into the individual owner situation, the individual business unit situation, the individual brand situation, so that they are appropriate and principled still, but consistent with the brand and the mission at hand.
Absolutely.
And I think that I really want to emphasize that when I read all the background, your Fortune magazine interviews, all your other interviews, your videos, that this is a company that is about performance and about growth. And that when you have acquired and made major acquisitions, you've had double-digit significant growth. So this isn't just the squishy stuff about culture. I mean, it's the power of and that I always talk about. That in having this clear culture, clear purpose, the simple principles, and then, living them and breathing them, that this has helped the company exponentially grow, as well as bond your people together and into just loving the company overall and their individual companies. But now I want to start going to some of the individual actions you've taken. And I know, Chris, you were just, you had called me up and you said, I cannot believe that Budweiser is going to make its 100% commitment. Do you want to get into that, Chris?
There's a whole host of huge issues that corporations have to tackle now as they become more citizens of the world. And I don't think there's one that is as common to everybody's experience, especially supply line and distribution, as climate change and the need for renewable solutions and sustainable solutions. So I wanted you to talk just a little bit about the commitment to making beer with 100% renewable electricity and how you're going to achieve that in the U.S. and other markets.
Perfect. So we think that was a very bold step by Budweiser, because we decided that we wanted to use, and we want to continue using the power and the reach of our brands to inspire consumers and to drive action. So this was very authentic to Budweiser. Our research in the U.S. told us that, of course, climate change is an important issue for our consumers. However, as you also know, it is not always easy for us as consumers to understand how is that our everyday actions can really make a difference. And a brand as powerful as Budweiser can help bridge the gap between what consumers are interested into and what consumers can do to get to be part of the action and make a difference. So that's where we decided that we would commit Budweiser to be brewed in the United States initially and then throughout the world by 2025 with only renewable electricity coming from renewable sources. And we decided, so different from other approaches where the sustainability platform is basically a corporate initiative. We decided that this was going to be also a brand initiative. So Budweiser committed to using only renewable electricity by 2025. It started in the US. And we launched, as you know, this renewable electricity symbol that it is added to our packaging, including primary packaging, meaning the bottles and the cans, so as to inform our consumers and to help them make better purchasing decisions. And a very important thing here is that we sell around 41 million Budweisers around the world every day. This means that we can prompt as much as 41 million organic conversations by including this renewable electricity symbol and really have our consumers driving the right conversations to make change.
Was it difficult to have your colleagues in brand for Budweiser agree to put that put that communication on the can? That's like committed.
I think that always launching an initiative as bold and as important as this one with a brand that is so powerful, that has such a great heritage, it's a very important decision and has to be very thoughtful. And as you can anticipate, this decision was informed by significant amount of data, knowing what is important for our company, again, what was important for our consumers. But at some point, it felt just like the right thing to do, and it is very authentic to Budweiser. I mean, we say, and you have heard our CEO state that sustainability is truly our business. Sustainability is our business because brewing great beer, such as Budweiser, really depends on healthy, natural environment. Beer is brewed with natural ingredients. So Budweiser participating in the climate action conversation was only natural for the brand. And we're very excited that Budweiser took this bold stand. And we're way ahead in we're making great progress in this commitment. By now, we have, as a company, more than 50% of our goal reached out. So we have already power purchase agreements that represent more than 50% of our purchased electricity coming from renewable sources. So we're making great progress, and we'll continue using Budweiser to drive the right conversations.
And what were consumers' responses to that? We would love to have seen the social media, and what were they saying?
Overall, consumer reaction has been very positive. Again, it feels authentic. Climate is an important issue for consumers, not only in the U.S. but throughout the world. And the response has been overwhelmingly positive for Budweiser to take a stand and to do what we're doing.
You know, I know you guys have been doing for some years now, swapping out the canning lines to canned water instead of beer to respond to national disasters and emergencies. I want to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl advertisement you guys launched last year and what it did for the brand, how you were able to take cause and helping out in the moment and make it part of kind of the longer term vision for AB InBev.
That's a great point. In really the emergency drinking water efforts by Anheuser-Busch in the U.S. have been part of a long-standing commitment. The company has been doing this since 1988, working with the Red Cross and with other partners. to provide more than 80 million cans of safe, pure water in the midst of natural disasters. It is something, again, that is very authentic to who we are. It's something that we can really use our knowledge, our logistics, and our production facilities to periodically pause the beer production, basically in our brewery in Fort Collins and Cartersville in Georgia, to can water and to be ready to distribute it when disaster strikes. So this is not a fad. It is not something that we have done once and then try to take credit for it. It's something that the company has been doing for a long time, and we plan to continue doing it because we're in a good position to help our communities that we are part of, and this really makes us very proud. So we received very good feedback from social media and also earned media and traditional after this piece of advertisement, which I think it was really moving and inspiring, not only from our consumers, it also really inspired our own people because they see that their efforts really come to life and that we really mean when we say that we want to be part of the communities and we want to be part of the solutions.
One of the things that I just is stunning about your work is that you just don't do these incredible ads. The ads are a communication of really deep and authentic commitment of whether it's renewable energy or providing water in disasters. And so you really walk the talk. And so just kudos to you. I'd like to shift a little bit to cause marketing, where I've seen the ad many times and I love it. It's the Stella Artois and the waterdart.org partnering for Buy a Lady a Drink campaign. So I'm curious about how that developed, but also what kind of guidance do you or not from corporate give the individual brands to engage in, whether it's sustainability, communities, social issues, or such?
Just going first to your second question, every brand, going back to the point of ownership, that means that we have to take results personally, and the brand, the people in charge of the different brands have a freedom to identify what's the real and the best way to bring our dream to life. So there's not necessarily a mandate for the brands to adopt one platform or the other. The brands really have to find out what's really authentic for them, what's really meaningful and matters to their consumers, and then what is really aligned to their platform. And there's a freedom within a framework because we do believe in ownership, and that's a core element of our culture, as we mentioned. And regarding this particular program, which I think is fantastic, Stella Artois, as you know, has been working and has partnered with water.org of Gary White and Matt Damon since 2015. And the purpose of this partnership is to provide people in the developing world with long-term sustainable access to clean water. We're very proud that as part of this partnership to date, we have been able to help provide access to clean water for over 2 million people. And our goal is to reach 3.5 million in the next couple of years. And this brings me to a point which we think is critical here, the importance of finding the right partners. For most of the times, these challenges are so big and so complex that it's very difficult to believe that one single company or one single individual or organization or even government can really make a difference. Seeking partners, it's fundamental for really driving and scaling change. And we have been very fortunate and are very happy to see how the partnership with water.org is moving along.
And I assume that those partners are vetted at the local brand level. So they have, to your point, ownership and responsibility to identify and then make them work.
Absolutely. So we have in this conversation mentioned our two of our global brands. We have three global brands: Budweiser, Stella Artois, and Corona. And each one of them has its platform, and each one of the platforms is authentic to the brand, and it touches upon this intersection of being authentic, being something that matters, and being aligned to its business. However, as you also mentioned in the beginning, Carol, we have over 500 brands around the world, and local regional brands have also adopted um, platforms and cost marketing. And the case is or the framework is the same. It has to be authentic. It has to resonate with consumers, and it must be something that has the capacity to be long-standing because it's aligned with our business model and with the personality of the brand.
In a way, your view for over the next 100 years gives some freedom to your colleagues to commit to something on the longer term, which does then translate down to consumers because they see it again and again and again, and they understand your commitment. So very, very, very well done.
Absolutely, because with ownership, with freedom, I mean, we can easily connect freedom with ownership. So our colleagues for sure have freedom to bring the dream to life, as we are all owners, and we want to make sure that everyone can identify a way in which his or her efforts can really drive the actions, as long as we keep clarity that we're taking results personally and that we are owners that take projects from beginning to end, and we live with the consequences of our actions. And that should drive to the same principle of one team, one dream.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. And that actually kind of leads us further down the purpose path, if you will, right? So if you look at AB InBev as a global citizen and your action on issues, now we're turning towards kind of direct interaction with consumers and how the brand works its purpose into that interaction. As a producer of alcohol, you guys face the reality that your products can cause harm. You've got a lot of initiatives around the world that promote responsible drinking, including efforts to shift social drinking norms, to support WHO's target of reducing harmful use of alcohol, and even to kind of set global smart drinking goals. Can you tell us about that interaction, right? How now we're at the product level. How do you work with consumers to make sure they're being safe and responsible? And what does that commitment look like?
First, let me start by saying that we believe that every experience with beer should be a positive one. But at the same time, we recognize that the harmful use of alcohol is bad. And it's not bad only for individuals, but also it can be for their families, for their communities. And of course, it is bad in the end for business. And if we live by our dream of bringing people together for a better world, which is our dream, we need to make sure that we're able to continue bringing people together for the next 100 years and beyond. And for doing that, we can only achieve it by working within thriving communities across the globe. To that point is that in close alignment with the goals of the World Health Organization, the WHO, is that back in December 2015, we launched what we call our Global Smart Drinking Goals. And the target, again, in alignment with the WHO, is to reduce the harmful use of alcohol by at least 10% by 2025. And we did this by recognizing that we had to move from awareness to really driving change and measuring impact. As you all know, the beer industry has been working on awareness campaigns for decades. So sending the right messages that you should not drink and drive, that you should not abuse alcohol, that you should not sell alcohol to underage folks. However, we thought that it was clearly a moment for us to move from awareness to drive action. And that's why we decided to go with our global smart drinking goals that are basically covering 4 different areas. One of them is to launch 6 what we call city pilots across the world, where we can identify evidence-based solutions that we can later replicate and scale. That's number 1. Number 2 is investing our commitment to invest in at least $1 billion up to 2025 in social marketing campaigns to drive positive behavior. So the goal here is changing behavior. The third one is to promote better alcohol literacy So that really means providing more information to our consumers so they can make educated choices when drinking alcohol or deciding not to drink alcohol. And fourth, and very important to us as well, to reach at least 20% of our beer volumes by 2025 with no and low alcohol beer, what we call NABLAB, no and low alcohol beer. And by low alcohol beer, we mean beers that have 3.5% alcohol volume. And now we stand around 8% in this goal. And we have over 76, close to 80 offerings in the NABLAB space. So those are basically the smart drinking goals, because again, we recognize that the harmful use of alcohol is bad for individuals, colleagues, families, communities, and for our business. And we want every experience with beer to be a positive one for the next 100 years and beyond.
Again, how did you establish those? Did you have subcommittees? So how did that happen? But also, did you have headwinds internally? Did you have any naysayers that said, no, it's got to be the responsible individual. It's not our role. This sounds so smart, Pablo, that you must have had a few bumps in the road, internally perhaps, or externally, or both.
These goals are for sure, Carol, the process of an evolution in the way we think and we approach smart drinking. We have always been clear that we, as a large company producing alcohol beverages, we have to play a significant role in this space. But the way how to really approach that situation has been a matter of evolution. And of course, here I go back to the point of partnerships. We did not came with the global smart drinking goals by ourselves within our four walls. We actually engage with experts, with independent experts, with members of the academia. And this was really an effort for us to learn and to come up with what we truly believed was going to be able to make an impact. So partnerships are key for achieving real big dreams and for bringing these smart drinking goals to life. As an example, when we mentioned the city pilots in 6 different cities around the world, we work very closely with governments. We work very closely with universities. We work, of course, with the civil society, with the communities, because the problems are so big and so complex that no one can really tackle them alone. But we do believe that by doing this together in a thoughtful way, we can really make a difference and have a long-standing impact that we can later replicate based on evidence.
So I'd love to just follow up really quickly on that and take it in a slightly different direction. As you're establishing a vision and goals for the next 100 years and beyond, innovation has to be a really important part of that conversation. You just mentioned InBev, AB InBev's city pilots, and I know that you also have the 100 Plus Accelerator. Can you talk a little bit about those two and in relation to innovation and why it's important for the company?
This accelerator was built with the framework of what we called our 2025 sustainability goals, which are our most ambitious sustainability goals ever, that we launched a couple of years ago. Actually, it was March 2018. And we realized that the goals were so ambitious that our company cannot achieve them alone. So through the 100 Plus Accelerator, what we're trying to do is to connect with a community of innovators so we can join efforts and solve or provide ideas to solve the world's biggest challenges from an environmental standpoint. We launched this initiative last year. We were overwhelmed by the success of the program. Initially, we received 650 submissions from around the globe, from 12 countries and across the 5 continents. So this is a truly global effort. We selected 21 finalists to 21 startups that we support in 3 different ways. First, we pilot opportunities within AB InBev. Second, we provide the companies with active mentorship in a top network of mentors from scientists to members of the academic world to domain experts. We also help them to connect with venture capitalists and to corporate sustainability leaders. And third, we also provide funding for those companies. And the idea, again, is to make sure that through these partnerships and through partnering with the best and the brightest, bringing innovation to solve big and very complex problems. So let me tell you a little bit about BanQ. And BanQ is one of the companies that were part of our cohort of the 100 Plus Accelerator. BanQ's mission is to bring a dignity through identity. It is a company that was co-founded by Ashish Kadnis and a group of very talented partners. As part of our 100 Plus Accelerator program, we have been working with them in different programs in several countries. And not only that, but we recently announced an equity investment in BanQ. The initial work with BanQ is to provide financial identity to farmers in developing countries that otherwise do not have access to the banking system. Historically, cassava growers have been dealing with us through intermediaries, but they had little access or no opportunity to prove that they were actually suppliers of SAB or AB InBev. They had no invoices or documents to prove that they actually ran a family business. Through the use of BanQ and with blockchain technology, these cassava farmers now get records of their transactions in their phones by SMS. And through having this information, they have much better basis to negotiate with intermediaries. And by providing that they are suppliers of or cassava, they can have access to microloans. So when dealing with banks, now they can prove that they are our suppliers, and they can use these microloans to grow their business or to support their family needs. In addition, they now have a safe way to keep their savings because they no longer receive cash. Now they receive payments records that they can prove by an SMS. Since then, by working with the BanQ, we have found several other applications of their business model and their technology to our business, which we are piloting now in several countries. And this partnership, in my opinion, is an excellent example of bringing people together for a better world. Now let me go to RSU Brazil. And their mission is to take waste from landfills and transform it into clean energy. RSU Brazil was also part of the first cohort of our 100 Plus Accelerator. And I think it's an excellent example of circular economy. For those who know, Brazil's waste system has a number of unique characteristics. On the one hand, it has a high degree of humidity, which sets it apart from the waste produced in other parts of the world. So technologies, especially designed by RSU Brazil, is aiming to properly treat this waste and really make it more manageable. So the idea of or the principle behind this technology is to eliminate the moisture, to compress the waste, and to make it more manageable with the purposes of creating clean energy through it. So again, it's a principle of going from waste to wealth, or from waste to clean energy in this case. Our partnership with RSU Brazil has allowed this startup to improve their process, to produce better quality biomass from waste, and to confirm the consistency of the waste parameters that they need from recovered recyclable materials. Again, another great example of bringing people together for a better world. And I want to use the opportunity, if you allow me, to mention to your audience that we are now in the second cohort of the 100 Plus Accelerator. In the month of August, we launched our new challenges, and the invitation is open now. So I want to spread the word. Please visit www.100accelerator.com and join us for this wonderful program. And we're really looking for partnerships and innovators to tackle the most complex problems.
You're just you cover so many areas, Pablo. It's such smart execution of a global brand and corporation with 500 brands. You've got me like, oh, my back on my heels, and I'm just loving it. We're unfortunately, you're going to become my favorite company around the globe, and I've had some really good favorites. I've been weaned on Unilever for so many years, but I want to take you. Your stories and your approaches are just extraordinary and really, really smart.
I think this might be Carol's play for a lifetime supply of beer. So just be aware of that.
No. I just want to hang out with Pablo.
You got it.
We always like to ask, and you've given us a lot of insights along the way. But if you could give 3 core insights to your colleagues who want to evolve their company's engagement with society through a stated purpose that's very, very authentic, what are 3 of the most important insights you can share?
I would say, Carol, that the 3 would be the first one, find something that is authentic to who you are and what your company stands for, something that is true and that can hold up over time. Second, inspire others. Look for areas where you can really move your employees and create a rally cry, but also you have the capacity to inspire your consumers. And third, the importance of partnerships. No one can do it alone, and partnerships are absolutely essential for driving real change at scale. So again, be authentic, inspire others, and partnerships are essential.
I think that there's still more to talk about, right? I'd love to talk about specific brands and how the purpose reflects out to them. But you guys have done a great job with your Corona properties and some of the Stella work that you've done in just making all of this come to life in different ways. Thank you. I really appreciate the thoughtfulness that you guys bring to purpose and the effectiveness that you use to radiate it out to the community and the customer.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. It has been a very, very interesting and super pleasant conversation, and look forward to the next opportunity. And thanks for opening the space to talk a little bit about our company and how passionate we feel about bringing people together for a better world with beer.
Oh, you do a phenomenal job, and I know that the word authenticity is thrown around a lot outside of this conversation, and it's kind of not with a lot of great depth. And I think that in this situation, Pablo, and with AB InBev, your authenticity, starting with the high level, your North Star purpose, your long-term vision, your recognition of what your product does, and your responsibilities, and also your, Carlos Brito's commitment to performance, to grow. All of this comes together in a delicious, since we're talking about food and beverage, company. And kudos to you. And we would like to invite you back because I think there's so much more to learn. So we will do that. We'll say that to, hopefully you'll say yes. And we'd like to end today. It was a wonderful conversation. So much more to cover. But it's brilliant, thoughtful, and smart work. And we know that you're on a journey, but it's a powerful journey. So we want to end today and ask our listeners to think about what is your purpose and how can you take these incredible insights from AB InBev and apply it to your work. So thank you so much, Pablo. Thank you, Chris. It was a wonderful conversation. And we look forward to the next one.
Carol, Chris, it was my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks again. Take care.